Hi everyone. We're going to do a little bit of preparation for your writing lesson. Now just disregard this class code. We are Session 3 2020 and we are Class 7. I'm just reusing something I've used before. So what is worth conserving? If you turn to Unit 1 of your BE textbook, Prism for Reading, you will see the topic is preservation or conservation. So before we start the writing lesson, I want you to be really confident with the vocabulary. How are these words used in a sentence? And what's the difference in the meaning? Is there a difference in the meaning? We've got 3 words here. Please repeat after me. Preserve, preserve. Conserve, conserve. Reserve, reserve. Now, how do you make these words nouns? Preserve becomes preservation. Conserve becomes conservation. And reserve becomes reservation. But you must be careful with the meaning. Let's look at preserve first. It is said to be a B2 word. Now, if you are in BE course at ICT, you should be better than this. You should know this word already. Preserve means to keep something as it is in order to prevent it from decaying or being damaged or destroyed. At this point, I want to tell you, do not use an English-Chinese dictionary or English-Japanese or English-Spanish. Use an English-English dictionary so you can see all of these model phrases and sentences. Like, we want to preserve the character of the town while improving the facilities. Or let's read this one together. Try and speak with me. Now, putting varnish on wood is a way of preserving it. And notice the T here next to the verb. This means the verb is transitive. It requires a direct object. Preserve the environment. Preserve the character. Preserved our right. Preserving it. See, you must have it because it's a transitive verb. Preserve me or preserve my sanity. That's preserve. Conserve. Can you see straight away? It is also transitive. You must have a direct object. So what's the difference in meaning? Preserve, to keep something as it is, to prevent it from being damaged. Conserve is almost the same. To keep and protect something from damage, look at the difference, or change, or waste. To conserve electricity, not preserve. Conserve your customs, conserve your energy, or conserve my strength. So we can't use the word preserve with electricity or energy or strength or power because it doesn't mean waste. But conserve means to keep and protect something from waste as well. And look at this little difference. Conserve is also a noun. It's a type of jam in which fruit is preserved or conserved. So in my fridge, I have an apricot conserve, I have a strawberry conserve, and I think I also have a raspberry jam or raspberry conserve. Mostly in Australia, people will say jam. Now let's look at reserve. To keep something for a particular purpose or time. It's very different, isn't it? Reserve Mondays for tidying your desk. Reserve seats for the elderly on the bus. Also, if you reserve something on an aircraft or at a table at a restaurant, you arrange it or arrange for it to be kept for your own use. For example, I reserved a double room at the Lamb Hotel. If you get there early, reserve me a seat or reserve a seat for me. Understood? So this extra meaning means to make a booking. But this meaning up here is the one closer to preserve and conserve. Reserve is also a noun. It's the act of keeping something or a supply until it is needed. But notice how it is used. She keeps a little money in reserve. In reserve. The librarian has put the book on reserve for me. At the moment, I think many families in our neighbourhood have a reserve of toilet paper, or they have toilet paper reserves in case of emergency. So reserve can also be a noun. Okay, now I'll stop the recording here because in class tomorrow we're going, or in class today or tomorrow, depends when you look at the video, we're going to go through these pictures and ask a series of questions. Is this worth keeping? Is this worth conserving? Is this worth preserving? Are these worth looking after? Notice the grammar pattern. What about these books, the Game of Thrones? Are these books worth preserving? Oh, very famous terracotta warriors in China. Are these worth an expensive conservation effort? Should the government spend money on conservation of artefacts? And what about your grandma's tea set? Is it worth keeping? Is it worth keeping? Is an original Nokia brick phone worth conserving? What about DVDs, cassettes? The VCR or video cassette, are they worth keeping? So in the lesson we will practice all of these patterns: to be worth keeping, to be worth a conservation effort, needs keeping or needs looking after, we're going to practice. Now I will put all of these slides on the Google Classroom. You will have access to everything, so don't worry. Okay. Every Friday we will have an academic writing lesson. And yes, we're starting this Friday, or maybe it's today. You will need your AWAG, your academic writing and grammar book. Every Friday I will give you time in the lesson to write. Now it may not be a full hour because I'm not in a physical room with you, so I don't want you to feel like I'm wasting your time. But every week on Friday night, if you don't finish in the time in the class, you must give me by email or through the Google Classroom, or even, what's another way? You can send me a file on the chat in Zoom. If you connect with me on WeChat, you can send it to me that way as well. But every week on Friday, at the end of the day, you must give me your writing. You can give it to me as a handwritten essay that you take a picture on your phone, or you can type on a Word document and email it or send it directly. So it doesn't matter if it's typed or handwritten. On the weekend, I will mark your essay, but I won't correct everything. I will return it to you on Monday. Obviously, you'll get a digital copy. On Monday night, part of your homework will be to rewrite it, and then you must give it back to me on Tuesday. And of course, I will then do the second marking with more feedback. Now, the first essay is a persuasive essay. So by the end of today, you should have practiced analysing essay questions. You will do quite a bit of brainstorming practice. You will identify different parts to an essay. You will plan for an essay, and you will think more carefully how to think of ideas, develop those ideas, and which ones to put in the essay. Every time you get an essay question in a test, do not rush. Slow down, read and analyse the question. Then spend, even if it's 60 seconds or 120 seconds, 2 minutes, brainstorming and identifying ideas. Spend another minute writing a rough outline or a plan. So let's think about this. In the BE writing test, you will have 1 hour to write a minimum 300 words. You should practice spending about 3 to 5 minutes from step 1 to step 5. Trust me, you will write more fluently later if you do the correct planning. What is a persuasive essay? This word here also means opinion essay, argument essay. So in this essay, you must state your opinion. If the examiner cannot see your opinion clearly, your score will go down for task achievement. Then you have to explain why. Opinion, reasons. That's how a persuasive essay or an argument essay is different from the other types. So here is a good example. Some people believe governments should try, let me move my face. Some people believe governments should try to save languages that are in danger, that's a mistake, of extinction. Some people believe governments should try to save languages that are in danger of extinction. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Now, I hope you're following in your book, in your academic writing and grammar book. You can find it in Unit 1, Persuasive Essay, and here is the section 2.1.